Hey YouTube, this is Drizzle. I just got my new video card delivered in the mail. This is a EVGA GTX 1080 for the Win Edition, shipped overnight through Amazon Prime, free local delivery. The guys who delivered it are kind of idiots. They're with a local company called Laser Ship. They're like kind of like a local FedEx or something that handles like kind of same day or overnight stuff delivered around the Louisville area. And so, like I say, they kind of are the only people that Amazon can use if they want to do the local delivery. But they just, like, they drop it off at your door and they, like, knock one time and then they run off and they don't even check to see if you got it. I find them to be very unprofessional, but it is here. The reason I'm getting this is, you know, I've had 1080s before. Let's see. Yeah, see, I did an open box one because if there's a problem with it, they'll just take it back, and it saved me about $50. And like I say, if there's anything wrong, I can always send it back. But this is the new. Sorry about the shiny, reflective nature. Apparently, they did that to the box. That's just how they look. But also, sorry if I sound kind of funny, but I've been sick all week. I have a chest cold. I've been coughing and sneezing and that kind of thing a lot. I'm a lot better today than I was yesterday, but I've been pretty miserable, and that's partly why I haven't done any kind of videos or anything. My voice has been screwed up. It was kind of funny the first day I got sick. I had, like, my voice was almost an octave lower than it normally is. Like, I'm a lot more normal now, but it was kind of fun almost. Like, before I started getting a lot of the sickness side of it, where, you know, you start sneezing and whatnot and coughing, it was just like a really deep voice. I sounded pretty funny. A lot of people thought it was cool at work, like I was doing like a singing voice kind of thing, and I sounded like a bass. And normally I'm more of a somewhere like a treble. Anyways, so this is the 1080 for the Win Edition. This is 10 power phases. I'm not sure what the power consumption is on this card off the top of my head. I want to say it's around 225, maybe 250 watts. And their description is wrong on their site because it says you don't get any of the accessories. Like, all you're supposed to get is the card, but as you can see, I definitely got some adapters and stuff. I'm not sure why it was returned in the first place. Sometimes open box like this, or this is from the Amazon warehouse. Okay, so somebody did open the little one adapter package anyway. Maybe their power supply was insufficient, or there might have been something else, you know, that caused them to return it. A lot of times, stuff like this, people buy it and it's just not compatible with their system. Like, they don't know what they're doing, you know, they don't have a sufficient power supply, or their case isn't the right size, or any number of things that cause them to have to send a card back because it ended up not working for them. But you know, you should always verify that stuff before you order things, unless you just have money to throw at it, or, you know, with Amazon, they kind of know that they can send it back and it's not really going to be an issue for them, so they're just kind of like, screw Amazon, you know. I think that's kind of a crappy way to do things, but I'm not going to say I've never done it either. I usually buy things with the intent of keeping them, but I have returned some things due to, like, buyer's remorse or whatever, once or twice. This looks a little, I guess that's probably alright. I was going to say I thought it looked like this was a little bit bent on the PCI Express connector, but I don't think it is. It's fine. Comes with a nice ACX 3.0 cooler. I'm looking for any kind of damage before I decide to install it, because, like I said, this is technically an open box item. Usually that just means that sometimes it's like the package gets dropped or something in the factory, and so they have to, or in the warehouse or whatever, and because the box gets damaged, they can't send it out and call it brand new, or call it, you know, in flawless condition, and so sometimes they'll sell them a little cheaper in that regard. This has a dual BIOS. I don't know if you can see this real well, but there's a little switch right there, and it says there's a master and slave BIOS. I'm not sure how that'll work with this card. I know with, like, the I used to have the 980 Ti classified edition cards, and those had multiple BIOS options that you could set different overclocks on, and you just flip a switch to get different settings, which was pretty cool. But it looks to be in good shape. I'm not seeing any physical damage anywhere. I'm kind of looking to see if anything got bent, or, like, you know, any of the fins or anything were damaged. This does take two 8-pin power connectors, so I'm guessing this is probably around the 250 watt usage, if not more, at stock. And of course, you know, I'm going to overclock it because that's what For the Win cards are a step down from the Classified Edition, but they're still excellent overclockers. And this thing looks like it's going to be some pretty good cooling. But the reason I'm in part doing away with my AMD cards again is I have the two R9 Furies right now in Crossfire, and they're probably same speed as this, a little faster on some things, a little slower on other things. But if games don't support Crossfire very well, which some games don't, of course, then you're going to run into the problem of getting only basically half the performance of this card, because a single Fury is about, like I say, about half the performance. So if the game only lets you use one card, that's the only performance you're going to get is 50% of this. So for games like the Forest that I've been playing a bit lately again, like I'm not really getting very good performance in it. And even though it does kind of support Crossfire, like it's choppy, like it kind of jumps up and down to the frame rates a little bit. And as some of you have probably seen in some of my previous videos here recently, I'm having issues with FreeSync where it's like the screen likes to go black and have, you know, some bizarre issues, or FreeSync like just doesn't work right, or you get the flickering from the Ultimate FreeSync engine. And ultimately, I never really cared about FreeSync 100% anyway. I mean, it is nice. G-Sync, of course, is very nice, but you know, if they can't get it to work right, or maybe it's just this monitor, maybe I got a bad monitor. But I'm going to use this, and I might use like adaptive V-Sync, which is just in the NVIDIA's driver, and I've had good luck with that in the past. I don't think it's quite as smooth as, you know, G-Sync or FreeSync are, but it's pretty good, and you know, I never had a problem with it working, at least. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and pause for a second, because I got to take my other cards out. I've got to run display driver uninstaller, and then we'll get this put in and install the latest NVIDIA driver, which I've already downloaded, and you know, we'll benchmark it or something. So give me 1 second. I'm going to pause the video. Alright, I got the card in there. Please don't mind the messed up wiring for right now. I'm not going to deal with that until later and make sure everything works before I bother, you know, to take out a bunch of stuff that I may end up having to redo or something. But as you can see, it's in there nicely with my other EVGA stuff. I got my X99 classified board. My power supply, which you can't see, of course, is EVGA Supernova 1300 watts. That's on the other side of the case, but that's nicely in there. The colors all pretty well fit together, although the little blue and For the Win is sort of out of place. It'd be cool if you could change that. I think this thing has LEDs though, and you might be able to change colors of certain things. So we'll have to see. But I got my sound card back in there, which I had to take out for a while when I was running the 3 R9 Furies because I didn't have any room for it. See, I got my little Samsung 950 Pro in there. All my other drives are on the other side of the case because, again, well, I've got, I think actually that's my 850 Pro down there, my OS drive. I've got my, you know, my rapid mode 850 Pro there rocking out at 6,000 megabits per second read-write rate. Of course, it hawks a bunch of RAM to do that. It can't really do that by itself, but it's a pretty speedy little drive. And then the 950 Pro, unfortunately, that this board, in their infinite wisdom, EVGA only let that socket run at 2.0. If I wanted to, I've got my adapter card around here somewhere. I could convert that M.2 drive back into a let's see, a PCI Express adapter. I have a Silverstone adapter lying around here somewhere that I can throw that M.2 drive back into and get it back into 3.0 lanes, because as it is, it'll run at about, I want to say, like 1500 megabits per second, which is good. But if you put it into one of the PCI Express slots with an adapter, it runs at like 2500, 2600 megabits per second, which is what it's supposed to run at. But anyways, you can see we're all set up and ready to test here. So what I do is set her up, plug it back up to the to my monitor, plug everything back in, and then install the driver and see where we're at with it. Hopefully everything works correctly. Hopefully they didn't send it back because it was actually broken. They're supposed to test these things, so we'll see. Let me pause 1 second and we'll get that set up and we'll see how it's doing. Be right back. Alright, for some reason I tried bringing it up on DisplayPort and like it was working until it got into Windows, and then I just had a black screen for no apparent reason. So I hooked it up with HDMI, and that seems to have, that didn't work either until I rebooted, and now it's like it's working over HDMI at least. I don't know what it is with some cards, but it's like outside of Windows, sometimes there's one port that'll be better detected than the other one. It's weird, but when it got into Windows, like it was just black screened and it wasn't getting a signal. But now that I've rebooted with HDMI, at least it's doing that. So we're going to install the driver, and hopefully once that works, all the ports will work correctly and we can get on with our lives. But I will go ahead and pause again because this is kind of boring, just driver installation nonsense. Hopefully it doesn't error out or have any problems or not detect the card or something screwy like that. But as you can see, I got the latest version here, 378.49. That was released on like January 24th. So that's what you should be using if you've got an NVIDIA card right now. But anyways, I'll go ahead and pause it again for a second, and hopefully everything works well here, and then we'll go ahead and do some benchmarks and see how it runs. Be right back. Yeah, it's detecting, that's good. I'll be right back. Alright, we've successfully installed our driver. As you can see, it's kind of going through and finding all the different games in my system right now. And you can see GPU Z is properly reading. It's an EVGA. It's got the 8 gigs of GDDR5X Micron memory. PCI Express 3.0 running at, I think it runs at 1.1 when it's, you know, not doing anything. Let's make sure it actually jumps up and hits the 3.0 as it should. Yeah, see, now it's going at 3.0. When it idles, it, you know, they attempt to save power. That's cool. That's working. As you can see up here, we've got, as I was saying, the option is set it to adaptive vertical sync, which I think is what I'm going to do. I'm going to change this to prefer maximum performance and apply, because otherwise it will try to save power in certain situations where it's not necessarily desired, like you'll lose frame rates and whatnot in benchmarks. So that's all happily loaded up. I want to disable shadow play for the moment because that does use up some of your CUDA cores, and if you're going to benchmark, you want it to not be doing that, because that'll reduce your frame rates a bit, and then your score will be lower. Let's see how this wants to run. I probably need to manually set like a fan profile or something. Let me pause for 1 second. I want to fiddle around. I know I've got VGA Precision on here. Give me 1 second. Alright, I've manually set my fan profile now to it's about 58%, and you can see I've got GPU clock of 1721. I can't remember what these things boost up to, but I know that these things can go well over 2000 megahertz on the core, and the memory clock is over 5000 megahertz. These things are baller. So let's go ahead and launch up 3D Mark and see if it has any weirdness. I'll probably have to get a second one of these cards. I'm never happy with one card. Just call it a personal failing of mine. Let's see, I don't want the demo. And let's see what she does here. I'll probably pause partway through this because this will take like 7 minutes to run through it, and I don't think people want to sit here and just watch this thing run for 7 minutes. Give it a second, just make sure it loads and doesn't crap out or anything. I probably should have rebooted the machine after installing the driver, but we'll see if it just works or not. NVIDIA's drivers are usually pretty good anymore, so hopefully there's not a lot of weirdness if it wants to load. See, now it's got to collect my system info. That changed since the last time I did this. It may require a restart or something. We'll have to see. Yeah, it's trying to load it. That's good. Little loading progression bar is moving. Well, I do have adaptive VSync enabled, so that's probably going to mess with my benchmark too, but let's just see. Yeah, see, that's the problem. It's trying to stay... Okay, well, the reason why it's sitting at 100 right around there is because adaptive VSync, you know, only caps out at whatever the refresh rate of the monitor is, and obviously the refresh rate of this monitor is 100 Hertz. That's why I can't get above 100, but it's just hanging out around there. I guarantee this card is actually pushing the frame rate up into the 120s and 130s or more on this, but what I need to do is probably restart the benchmark. But you can see at least it's working. The card's not having any problems. What I should probably do is see how it performs in certain games where I was having some struggling previously. Or I guess what I can do is like load up Witcher 3 real quick. Let's just do that, and then we'll call it good for the video. Let's see. Hopefully I don't have any problems with that. I don't know what it is. I think I mentioned in a previous video, but sometimes Witcher 3 does not like to load for me. Seems to be kind of a 50-50 thing. Let's see if this wants to work. One of my Steam buddies is hitting me up, but he can wait. Please load. And of course, with adaptive VSync on, this won't get above 100 Hertz either, or 100 frames per second, I should say. But like, I can live with 100. Yeah, you know, I don't know why Witcher 3 always does this to me. Like, it always wants to load minimized. I always had some weird issues with this game. Ultimately, you know, I've got through the game twice. It definitely worked. It's just I've had some issues with it. There's Oriana singing her little song. I'll turn these back on. NVIDIA stuff. GameWorks things. No VSync for this, because I've already got it enabled in the driver. And we are loading. Of course, this is going to be difficult to play with one hand. Once again, I'm holding my phone with my left hand because I don't have anywhere to set up my phone properly in here. I have like my little bipod or tripod mount thing now, but depending on where I set it, you really can't get a good look at the screen, and I'm trying to make sure that you can see text and things. Oh my god, it's so buttery. So buttery. It's working. So I'm just using the one hand here to run around a little bit. So, you know, of course the downside is now I'm not able to use FreeSync because this is a FreeSync, not a G-Sync monitor. But again, I always bought it with the intention of really possibly going back to NVIDIA anyway. I wanted it for the VA panel and the quantum dot quality. As you can see, maybe, I don't know how well it's showing up for you, but this game looks quite impressive on here. Other games look excellent on it as well, of course. They're singing songs. Sorry. Hard to hold the camera and do this at the same time, like I say. A little difficult. Well, anyways, as everybody can see, this is clearly working quite well. This is a single GTX 1084, the 1 edition, at stock speeds, and it's already running the game, I would say, as well as the two Furies were together, which I anticipated. That's about what it should run it at. No issues with, you know, multi-GPU this way. Although I, again, will probably still end up getting a second 1080 if the 1080 Ti and the Vega 10 or Vega 20 card from AMD continue to get pushed off into the future. I'm guessing that we're not even going to see those till like September-ish, because let's say they launch them, you know, in August. It's like, well, okay, they've got, you know, you got to wait a month after that before they release like the non-reference cards, because the reference cards are usually kind of garbage, and you usually want to wait until you can get, you know, like, you know, just like this, the 1 edition wasn't available until like a month or a month and a half, even 2 months after the reference card launched. So, you know, 1080 Ti's launch, Vega 10 launches, you're going to have reference cards first, and you're going to have to wait, let's say, at least a month, maybe 2 months before those next cards come out, like the 1 editions, or with Vega 10 it'll be Sapphire's, you know, Tricks cards, or different Nitro edition cards, whatever version you're looking for. But those cards won't become available until later, you know, like I said, a month or two after reference. And then with the way things go in the GPU market, just like anything with electronics anymore, there's like a scalper market available, or of people who buy up all the GPUs as soon as they come on the market, and then of course they sell them at marked up prices. They scalp on them. And so people like myself, or people like you, you know, I would think that my viewers are people who buy video cards because they want to play games on them, or they want to benchmark them, or whatever it is that you want to do with those cards. And you're left with the inability to get the cards until quite a bit later before they actually come back down in price again. So unless you get really lucky, and like the day that a 1 edition card launches, you grab it, you know, you're going to be out of luck. But that said, this has been Drizzle. I appreciate everybody watching the channel. Hopefully I'll be feeling better by the time I do another video. Please click like and or subscribe to the channel, and I'll be sure to put up another video soon. Have a great one, and bye.